We do have new One Keir t-shirts available on our website. Go to britishstand.com or check the link in the description. And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand, and we have got some breaking news for you this afternoon, as Kemi Badenoch has called for the Metropolitan Police to investigate whether Keir Starmer broke the law over his voice coach meeting during lockdown of December 24th, 2020. Look, this story, of course, has been in the media for a lot of this week already, of course, and people want to know what has happened and what was going on. Now, this is what Patrick Christie said yesterday with regard to this situation, and said this morning, or last night, he said the Met Police told GB News that they can't investigate Keir Starmer for allegedly breaking COVID rules because, as it stands, nobody has reported him. However, guys, we have got a update, and it has been reported that Kemi Badenoch has called for the Metropolitan Police to investigate Starmer for these alleged breaches. We are going to be discussing this. As always, guys, get your thoughts and opinions down there in the live chat we're bringing up on the screen. But with regard to Keir Starmer, it was Prime Minister's questions today. He was asked about this. Again, it wasn't the main topic of discussion with regard to Kemi Badenoch and himself. She didn't even really question it, to be fair, except from a couple of slight digs with regard to her voice coach, but she never really held into account with regard to that breach. She more focused on the Chagos Islands. But when Keir Starmer was asked about this, this was his response in PMQs today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that, like everyone in the House, the Prime Minister is an honourable member. On that basis, can you repeat his assurances that all rules were followed while the country was in Tier 4 lockdown in December 2020, not just by him, but as his team as well, but also his voice coach, Leona Mellinger?
Mr. Speaker, in December 2020, I was in my office working on the expected Brexit deal. With my team, we had to analyse the deal as it came in at speed, prepare and deliver a live statement at speed on one of the most important issues for our country in recent years. That's what I was doing. What were they doing? Suitcases of booze into Downing Street, partying and fighting, vomiting up the walls, leaving the cleaners to remove red wine stains. That's the difference. I was working, they were partying.
So as you can see, a typical Starmer answer, of course, deflecting blame towards the Tories during their time. And again, to be fair, never really said it. He just said it was working. But these are the current facts in place at this moment in time. Starmer's voice coach was not a key worker. She travelled between tiers when it was strictly banned at the time. Starmer did leave home to meet her at Labour HQ for a completely unnecessary face-to-face lesson during Tier 4 lockdown, which was also against the rules. So there are facts that are currently in place at this moment in time. And as stated, despite what Patrick Christie said yesterday with regard to the Met Police's involvement, Kemi Badenoch has now stated that, that was Patrick Christie's yesterday, stated with GB News, they said that no one has reported him yet. However, following Prime Minister's questions, it has been said that Kemi Badenoch has called for the Metropolitan Police to investigate whether Keir Starmer broke the law over his voice coach meeting during lockdown on December 24th, 2020. So after initially there not being any reports to the police for him, it does seem as though that is going to be the case now, with the Metropolitan Police being asked to investigate Keir Starmer from the leader of the opposition. So we will probably get a little bit more clarity on what is going to go on. But as always, guys, I wouldn't hold your breath with regard to Keir Starmer. He's been in up to his eyeballs in scandal after scandal since taking office. However, seems to always get out the other end scotch free. Now, again, this is, that's kind of all we've got, a bit breaking news story with regard to it. However, I do want to take some of your reaction down there in the chat, guys. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think anything's going to come of it? What did you think of Keir Starmer's answer? And in your opinion, did he break lockdown rules? Did he break lockdown rules? And did he commit a criminal offence that he so long bashed Boris Johnson for and the Tory party? Was he doing exactly the same thing? As stated, let me know down there in the live chat. Let's get some chats up on the screen. Let's have a little look. Carper said, Kemi has gone up in my estimations, only by a little bit though. Now, again, she still comes from the Conservative Party, and again, whilst they are apparently under a rebrand, they're no angels. Again, the Tories have, I do admit and stand with Keir Starmer a little bit that they did, of course, cause 14 years of failure and brought the country to its knees. However, they have not done anything since they've taken office. I mean, they're 10% through their reign already, Labour Party, and arguably, I would say, they're doing a worse off job than the Tories were doing originally. So again, yes, under this rebrand, I like the way that Kemi does hold people to account, and to be fair, as a leader goes, I do think she's doing a good job in terms of trying to hold Keir Starmer to account for things and actually calling out some of his stuff, although there is some other things that she could call out. I mean, Southport for one, still want to get a conclusion and an answer with regard to that, and again, she could have used this opportunity to speak about the COVID situation as well at PMQs. So I do like the way that she brings up things and tries to hold him to account, and out of the two, certainly I do like Kemi Badenoch a lot more, but I'm like you, yeah, she has gone up in my estimations a little bit more, but it seems as though she is doing a little bit more for the people rather than for the people in government. Puntang says, breaking lockdown rules is only one of the many reasons this man should step down, move aside and allow reform to have a bash. Why not try something different? It can't be much worse. Well, unfortunately, whilst many of the people in the live chat would agree with you on that point, again, it doesn't work like that. Starmer is not going to go down without a fight and will probably stay in the office, in his words, until 2029, whilst trying to run again to be re-elected in 2029. That comes from him himself, which about a month ago he came out and said that. So I don't think this guy is going to be stepping down anytime soon. But if an investigation from the Met Police is launched into this after the news today regard to Kemi Badenoch calling on the Metropolitan Police to launch an investigation, and he is found guilty, then there would be no other alternative for him to step down, because he was the one that was preaching it. He was the one preaching it during that time for Boris Johnson to step down and the Tories to be held accountable. So by that meaning, he's the person that should be championing it, and he should also step down if found that it did, and he did indeed break lockdown restrictions. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But again, I wouldn't hold your breath, because Starmer always seems to get out the other end pretty clean. Submarina says, question time is pointless. All questions are given in advance and he never answers the questions anyway. I mean, yeah, I watch it, of course, just to try and keep up to date with everything. And you're absolutely right. Apart from the sort of toing and froing a little bit between the leader and the opposition, even then he doesn't answer questions that's put to him. Again, he was answered more questions, I think, towards the end. And whilst I don't back the SNP, there was a clip with the SNP towards the end, and he literally went hammer on Starmer. And he simply just did the same reply every single time an SNP minister asks a question. He simply just goes, I remember when you were sat down here. Now I can't hear you. You're all the way over there. But never answers their question. So how is that allowed? He always does it with the SNP. And again, I don't like the SNP whatsoever. But when they have a question, they're asking a question, then surely he should have to answer, not give the same answer every single week about, oh, you were down here before, now you're over there, so I'm not going to be taking advice from you. That's not an answer to a question that's been given. So you're absolutely right. The Prime Minister's questions does need a revamp, and it does need to be held to account, most certainly. Correct. Lady says, he had everyone held to account while in opposition. He demanded to know who was where, when and what spent. The Queen even attended Prince Philip's funeral alone. Again, yes, absolutely. Now, he can button it up all he likes and says it's work. Yes, fair enough. Again, you're allowed to work during this period, but certainly the facts that we do have in place at this moment in time is that Starmer's voice coach is not a key worker, and she could have done that job during Zoom. That could have been done on Zoom. And Starmer left home to meet her at Labour HQ for a completely unnecessary face-to-face lesson during Tier 4 lockdown. Those are the facts that are at play here. Regardless of whatever way you want to try and shape it and whatever way you want to try and button it up. I mean, if it was one of us that did that, or heck, if someone from the Tory party had done that, then he would have been gunning for them as well. So there's always something that you just need to watch out there as well. Jenny W says, the disrespect Reform got was shocking. Yeah, I've seen that, of course. But then again, I don't think Nigel and Tice necessarily did ask the greatest of questions. But then again, if you do ask questions, you don't necessarily get the answer from him. So it's all pointless anyway. So the conversation around PMQs anyway is it needs to be revamped massively. Daz also makes a point saying, and the voice coach was actually teaching coaching lessons on the internet at the time. Yes, well, there you go. I mean, having a voice coach could have been done on Zoom. So, again, we'll have to look back. It was a long time ago in terms of nearly 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago since we remember that life. But I remember it. I remember it very, very firmly, especially in December as it was approaching Christmas time. It was manic, especially in the south of England with Tier 4. You couldn't move. You couldn't do anything. So let alone. So definitely investigation should be launched, and that does look like it's going to be the case. As the breaking news this afternoon, guys, is that, of course, Kemi Badenoch has called for the Metropolitan Police to investigate whether Keir Starmer broke the law over his voice coach meeting during lockdown on December 24th, 2020. Guys, let's carry on the conversation down in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for tuning into these live streams. You really do make it. You're a massive part to these live streams, and I love this conversation based thing that we have on the live chat. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I have been Dan, this has been British Standard, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Take care.